Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for the first race of Season 18. It is time for the new season to get underway for what should be another fantastic campaign on F1 24. I'm your host, Zach RC, here to take you through another 24 rounds of what I have no doubt will be absolutely scintillating racing action for you guys to enjoy. And we're already getting the first few cars out on the racetrack for qualifying. New lineups, new teams, all on offer. And of course, the old question, who will catch Salve Grumio? See, this time races to win a 9th Racers Driving League Championship. Now, of course, it was only 14 days ago we were wrapping things up in Season 17 at the European Grand Prix in Portimao. We watched Grumio take his 8th title over James. And this time, we're looking to see if the defending race winner and now, once again, record champion can go back-to-back. And of course, a number of fantastic new lineups. We'll go through those over the course of Q1. And of course, everyone being drawn with new teams. So looking forward to seeing what everyone's got behind the wheel. Of course, one of the drivers we'll keep our eye on tonight in particular is we've heard a lot of noise in the paddock this week about Ferrari. And of course, their brand new lineup, Dan and Che, both of whom did fantastically. These two finished first and second in the final races of last season. Sorry, bear with me, I'm not sure. Okay, we are back on it. Apologies for that. I had to make sure everything was running okay. Sorry about those of you who just walked in and seen the static on screen. All is now fixed to my knowledge, so we should be all okay. If there are any issues with the stream, do let me know. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll make sure to fix those as we go along. Okay, right, so as I was saying, in terms of the lineups of watch things tonight, we'll be looking at Ferrari in particular. So Dan and Che finished 1-2 in Portimao in the last season. Dan, of course, almost nabbing his first win, but I'm hearing reports that he's been one of the faster drivers across testing, so keep an eye out as to what he's got up his sleeve going into tonight's race. We could be looking at a first-time winner to kick off the campaign, which we haven't seen in quite a while. There's Imri, one of the two drivers driving for the reigning Constructors' Champions Haas this season. Of course, replacing the outgoing Grumio and Landlord. Grumio and Landlord this season driving for RB. Grumio's the lone RB on the grid as of right now. I'm not sure if Landlord will join us later on, as we saw him do in previous seasons. But of course, that won't stop us from seeing some fantastic drives coming out of that camp. Ethan goes fast. It's the first lap of the season. 1 minute 28.5, and Imre immediately tops it. 1 minute 27.6. Here comes down towards the line. What's he got up his sleeve for his first lap? Goes fast. It's 1:27.4. And obviously, these are only the first few laps of qualifying one, but already we could be seeing a few signs of the pace that in the back of that Ferrari after a season which saw them finish bottom of the constructors last season with Cottony and Reggie behind the wheel. Che going faster, Ferrari 1-2. That's something we haven't seen in the RDL in at least a season or two since Imri and Nicholas were a lineup at the start of season 16, 2 seasons ago. And here's a returning face for some of you old heads who may have seen this guy around before. I know a different name, but this is Alfie T, who was previously here, both a driver and a commentator over the course of his RDL career. He's now back with us in the 3rd reserve role, driving tonight for Alpine. Of course, JB on one side of that line and Curtis on the other. Both those two doing fantastically in the championship last season. JB, of course, finished 3rd in this race last season and bagged 8th place in the driver standings. So keep an eye out for JB, of course, this season. We've got Yogalu, who, of course, made his reserve debut last night in Portugal. This week in the Williams, who's alongside Websy, replacing Kopf this week. Of course, I'm not looking to get back to winning ways. Of course, just the one victory of that team, courtesy of Websy in Miami last season. There is your reigning champion, Salve Grumio, once again here, this time in the RB. Of course, the RB/AlphaTauri team have seen several seasons of success in the Constructors' Championship in the past. Most recently, win coming back in season 12 with Landlord and Dan. So Dan, a former champion in the Constructors, but could potentially be looking to add to that with perhaps another Constructors campaign for Ferrari. That's what we're hearing. Alfie into the pit lane here. Bringing an end to his first run. 129.8. His first time on the board. But we are without, as I say, we are without Grumio's teammate Landlord for at least the time being. There is Alvar. There's a slight name change. Replacing the 2 L's in his name with 11s. But of course, still pronounced the same way. PJ Khaled, one of the 2 drivers in the Kick Sauber, the car that no one really wanted during the team draw. PJ and Ethan, who of course drove the Williams last season, the unfortunate pairing to have ended up with that car. But to my mind, it's not actually that bad a vehicle. I like the look of it myself. I haven't really got much problem with the Kick Sauber personally, but of course I'm not the one driving the race car. We'll see what PJ's got as he comes towards the start his first time lap. We'll keep an eye on him later on into Q1 there. And of course the Red Bull lineup yet to leave the pit lane. 10th Cannon making her full-time debut tonight. Of course had a few fantastic reserve performances last season, including several Q3 appearances and that P2 finish in Mexico, which can't be forgotten. So keep an eye out for her as the race goes on. Just Gamer there, one of the 2 drivers in the Mercedes. Red J and Obsessed taking the wheels of those 2 cars out on the racetrack. Of course, this team finished second in the Constructors' Championship last season with Pope and Imrie. This season, aim is just managed to stay competitive within the midfield. And I see no reason why those 2 can't at all go on and do that, given how competitive RDL is, especially the first race of the season. Anyone could win tonight's race. So that's what makes it perhaps one of the more interesting ones in my eyes. But of course, it's the last time, at least for the foreseeable future, that we'll be going to Bahrain in terms of hosting the opening race of the season. As from season 19 onwards, we'll be on F1 25, and from there, the first race will be getting held in Australia. So to soak up Bahrain, kicking off the campaign one more time. Pope out the racetrack there, P16, of course, the start of his second season since his return from the commentary box to the racetrack. Of course, Pope scoring 3 victories last season. Those victories came at Imola, Austria and Hungary, so 3 very different circuits. Of course, the Haas now rocking the Toyota Gazoo Racing logo on the back of the car there. As a result of the recent update going into the season. Of course, we saw the team draw earlier on last week, so that'll give the insight of those of you who were there to everyone who will be driving which car for this season. But Ferrari's retiring here, so I think more or less safe in Q2. 127.2 for Che, 127.4 for Dan, and then Grumio slotting in there 6 thousandths in front of Dan with a 127.464. One of the McLarens, though, that's Alvar there at the right hand side of the racetrack, letting the Haas and Mercedes go. We'll see what Pope has up his sleeve. Well, here comes Obsessed Gamer towards the line. 129.3. 12th fastest time so far, and Pope across the line 128.1. So the second car outside of the 128s, only a few hundredths off of Imrie. Sorry, well, off Imrie, but also off PJ Khaled. And as I say, about half a second off of Imrie as it stands. So the guys still very competitive despite the new car. Imrie no stranger to driving a Ferrari powered machine. Of course, drove for the Scuderia back in season 16. Websy back on the racetrack here. Was one of the race winners last season. Looking to try and perhaps recapture the form that carried him to the run-up finish back in season 15 in the Drivers' Championship. Of course, as I made mention of briefly earlier on, the lineup of Websy and Cott, which took 4th place in the Constructors with Sauber last season, as Imrie and Grumio both retire from the session. But I think that team will be looking for more this time around. Of course, that's not to say that in the slightest that the pair lacked pace. Cott himself pulled off several masterful drives last season, including a fight from the rear of the field at Silverstone to finish on the podium. He followed those up with podium finishes at both Spa and Monza, to name just a few. Of course, he, like Imrie, suffered a winless season last time around. So I'm sure we'll see him challenging for victories this campaign. But of course, not with us this week. He'll be replaced in the reserve role by Yogolu. And here is another returning favourite, again under a different name. This is Tank, will be those of you who are around will recognise the name Sniper Hunter, who of course contended earlier on for the Season 15 championship before falling away in the second half of the season. Of course, Fan went on to win the title that time round, but Tank's with us here in the reserve role. Of course, has RDL experience to boot for himself in the last couple of seasons, but of course, we haven't seen him on the grid in about almost a year or so, so it's very exciting to have him back, and we're looking forward to seeing what he's got up his sleeve. He comes towards the line here, sets his first lap, goes up to P5 and just in front of Flying Duck by exactly 2/10 in P6, so the Aston pairing could be one to watch out for in the race tonight. Of course, Flying Duck had a similar start to last season, but I think very similar to Tank, fell off towards the second half of the campaign. I think things more focused in that camp towards trying to help James take home the championship. Of course, James, another one of the drivers not with us this week. So I believe all three reserves are in use, so in Tank, Yogaloo and Alfie 2. Running ball with ATA is going for the last corner and charging towards the line. We'll see what time he's got up his sleeve for a second attempt. Looking at 28 this time, up to P15, just shy of a 128. So very close there. Right now, currently on the bubble, just below the bubble for the minute. I think that was Webb's over the line, went P7. So 4 drivers in the drop zone. AT, Obsessed Gamer, Cockney Goblin and Tempt Cannon. The latter two haven't set lap times yet. The Red Bulls yet to leave the pit lane. Hopefully they're aware the time is ticking, and as a result they obviously need to get their skates on. So I assume we'll see those guys out of the pit shortly. Five minutes to go here in the first part of qualifying. Who's got the speed to get themselves out of the drop zone? Oh, but a slide there from Pope off the last corner. Of course, soft tyre wear is heavy here in Bahrain. Of course, no tyre is more familiar with wearing than that soft. Soft tyre particularly lasts a lot less time than it has done in previous F1 games. So I imagine we will be seeing 2 stops across the board in today's race, but of course we may see 1 or 2 try to stretch the tyres, go for the 1 stop. Start on board with Pope. So a bit of a lock up there could be a concern, so keep an eye out for. That's the last thing we'll be doing on these qualifying runs. See the tyre smoke appearing from the Haas as he makes his way through turn 10. Pope running P9 right now, still about half second off of Imrie, but a few more cars have bridged that gap a bit in Tank, Duck and Websy. Of course, PJ was already in front of Pope. Even so, still safe in the drop zone in terms of Q1, but going into Q2, of course, only the top 10 will make the shootout pole position. That could put him in a bit more jeopardy, because we've got a very competitive looking field here. Just over 2 seconds covering the entire pack. Tempt Cannon out on the racetrack, so we'll get to see our first splints of her in action behind her new Red Bull. Pope into P6. So improving there by about a quarter of a second. And jumping in between the 2 Aston Martin cars. There is Tempt. We'll see what sort of pace she's got for her full-time debut, of course. Made several appearances in Q3 in the latter stages of last season. So we'll see if she's still got that qualifying pace in the tank. Of course, Red Bull perhaps one of the more interesting of the 5 new lineups on the grid. Cockney Goblin, who of course is a veteran of the series, been here for quite a long time, and Tempt is making her full-time debut tonight, so those two should blend quite nicely together and hopefully score some good finishes across the season. Obsessed Gamer jumps into P13 there, 128.6. And that will move Yogolu down into the drop zone. Red J is now in the bubble. We could see both Mercedes cars potentially get into Q2 here. Top 5 will retire for the session early, so we'll see those guys again, presumably in Q2. Into the last sector, closing in the last sector rather for 10th Cannon. Pope retires from session, PJ out. Number of drivers calling it a day here, more or less deciding they're safe in Q2. You often see the sort of top half of the grid calling it. Last corner for 10th Cannon. What's she got in terms of lap time? We're looking at 28 here. 128.6 opposed to P14. So not quite out of the woods just yet. As Ben in the Ferrari course, RDL's newest and most recent podium finisher. Then claimed his first podium last time out in Portugal. In the final race of last season. We'll see if we can see him score a few more over the course of this season perhaps. Red J improving by almost 2/10 right now. Still needs a bit more to knock Ben out for the minute. There's only 30 seconds to go. We're in the final minute of qualifying. Then again, invalidating here. So if two drivers below her improve, we could see her out of qualifying at the first hurdle. Courtney Goblin across towards the line. We'll only just get a lap in. It'll be the last one, I think, to set one. Here comes the Alpine Alvar. So no, JB, sorry, JB across the line to start his last lap. The second flag has now fallen. Yogolu over the line. Yogolu goes P13. Red J goes P14. It's close right now. Obsessed Gamer is on the bubble. 10th into the pit lane. She is out of qualifying. First Q1 elimination of the season for her. Then across up to P10 there. And that'll knock Obsessed Gamer out unless he can put a clinic on this last corner, but he's 3/10 down. I should imagine we'll be seeing him out. Yes, he comes into the pits and that'll be his first qualifying session of the season over. Here comes AT of the last corner towards the line. Stays P18. So it's all down now to Courtney Goblin. A lap faster than 128.5 could see him knock Red J out, get both Mercedes cars out of the session early on. Here he comes now, nearing the last two corners. Has he got the speed to get himself into Q2? We'll find out in just a moment. Across the line, I think that's it. P19 for Courtney Goblin. Not a fantastic qualifying for Red Bull. Mercedes move one car on. Red J into Q2. Che tops the session from Grimio and Dan. Alvar, the last car to cross the line. And once he pits, they'll do it for this first session. So, a very close session there. I think we should see a very interesting Q2. In terms of top 15, 1.3 tenths separating that portion of the field overall. So Mercedes, though, showing they've got the pace to compete in the midfield indeed. McLaren's getting into Q2. Both Williams cars are in. Yogolu getting himself into the top 15. And there's Red J, who will move on to the first Q2 session of the season. So your top times then. Che leads by almost 2 tenths over Grumio and Dan. Imri 4th, Tank 5th, Pope 6th, Flying Duck 7th, Websy 8th, JB 9th, Ethan in 10th, and it's Ben, PJ, Alvar, Yogalu and Red J move on to Q2. Obsessed Gamer, 10th Cannon, AT and Cotty Goblin all find themselves out in this first part of qualifying. So 15 move on, but only 10 will then survive to live another day and go on for the pole position shootout in Q3. So we go now, time for Q2 to get underway and time for things to get a little bit more interesting. 15 of the fastest cars from Q1 all moving on to this second part of the session, but only 10 of them will stay alive for the top 10 shootout in about 15 minutes. Now established to us who gets pole position, who will lead us to turn 1 for the first time in RDL Season 18. It should be a very close session, of course, to start the second season in which we use full qualifying, which had a fantastic debut last campaign back in Season 17. And we'll see that continues on as Pope leads the field back out onto the racetrack. PJ in pursuit behind him, and Imri, and then behind them it is Aaron. So the first few cars are all making their way out onto the circuit. Should be, as I said, a brilliant session, and we'll keep an eye on Pope, who is the first one out onto the racetrack. Of course, part of the pairing that helped Mercedes to P2 last season. Of course, still a lot of drivers to keep an eye on here in the field. Only 3 cars stayed in the pit lane, those drivers being Red J, JB, and crucially Grumio, so not going out just yet. We'll keep an eye on him. But of course, we saw this a number of times last season, drivers using their tyres, so perhaps using one pair from Q1 and going balls to all the fresh set for their second runs and seeing if that was enough. Pope across the line though, so we'll get a sense from Pope as to what sort of times benchmark cars will be able to be hitting. PJ in behind and Imri third across the line. Well, they're both McLarens, as I said, into Q2. Of course, this is one of our new lineups for season 18. Of course, we missed out for a fair few races last season. But in terms of the pair of them, of course, the pair of them now driving the car that won the Constructors' Championship in real life Formula 1, so must put a bit of confidence underneath them going into this new season. Of course, Alvar scored points in 2 of the first 3 races last season, and across the board helped Alpine to keep themselves in front of the battle between Ferrari and Aston Martin that raced on for P9 in the Constructors. He helped keep Alpine away from that fight. Of course, what could be potentially be a very strong point scoring pairing in Ben and Alvar. Of course, Ben now obviously also a podium finisher in his own right. And there is Che, who of course had a number of wins last season's Pope goes fastest, 128.6. Che took, as I say, a number of race wins, including 2 of the final 3 races. Tango's fastest there, and the Ferraris can't overhaul him. Che 127.7, Dan at 127.8. Salva's following in tow right behind. Pope's what was the fastest time, now down to P6, 128.6. And Yogalu 129.1. Then across the line goes P7, 128.8. But it's clear the tank has not lost a yard of pace since he last drove in the RDL. Even a whole game removed from that. Red J and Grimmy back on the racetrack now. JB still in the pits, out he comes. Red J still staying in there for a minute. Imri in P15. 28.3 in his first sector. In terms of his second sector, we're looking at a 1 minute 6.8. 1. Apologies. Off into the last corner now, and towards the line. We'll see what sort of time Imri got up his sleeve. 1:27.9. That's enough for P4. Embedding himself right there in the top 5. Flying Duck P6 now. 1 minute 28.175, his best effort so far. Pope in P9, perhaps under a bit of pressure this time around. Starting from bottom 5, Yokalu, Red J, Websy, Grimio and JB. 4 of them yet set lap time, so keep an eye out for those who can get a proper bottom 5 to keep an eye on. Grimio towards the line, what can he do? The champion goes P3, 1:27.8. So it's good, he hasn't lost the yard of pace either. Both Sauers there in the top 10. JB over the line. His start will be his first lap of the session. Of course, drove for McLaren last season, managed to have one of their podium finishes. Alongside Lucky Lambert, season 10 champion, who has since retired, which we found out in terms of the media team here at the RDL, found out after the race. So unfortunately, we weren't able to send off a proper tribute to the former champ, but of course we wish Lucky Lambert well. Oh, there goes JB sliding off the circuit, off into the gravel, and that is not where you want to put it. As he recovers the car, gets himself going again. No real harm done in terms of the car, but in terms of the tyres, different story. Let's go again on that lap. Ramiro P3 then. Looks like we're seeing Imri going back in. A solid first run, planting himself well within the cars, set to make Q3. Pope, though, his teammate, perhaps in a bit more trouble here, so we'll keep an eye on him as he comes through for his next lap. Of course, been a fair few seasons since he won his championship. Of course, he won the season right after Lucky in season 11. Of course, through season 12 and season 13 and 14 remained on the grid. And of course, joined us for Mexico season 14. And from then on, across F1 23 was the brilliant co-commentator here in the commentary box. But of course, we're back to racing last season, now a number of victories, and now looking to plant himself right amongst the big boys once again. But under a bit of pressure here to make something happen. And we'll need to see the Pope of old. We'll need to see him show himself very quickly. Red J now out on the circuit. Jamie's gone back to the pit lane, so no lap set for him in a minute. So that could be a concern with 6.5 minutes to go. Websy towards the line for his first lap of the session. 1:27.8, sorry. So that's up to P5, so putting himself in there, but crucially knocking Pope out for the minute. The Pope 3.5 tenths up in the first sector. We'll see what he's got in sector 2. 1.2, big improvement there. We're looking at a 1:27.6. 1:27.4. This could be one of the faster times in the session. So let's keep an eye on him as he comes towards the last 2 corners. If he can hold this pace together, we could see the fastest lap. towards the line. Has Pope got where it takes to take P1 across the line? 1:27.1, big improvements there. And Pope puts himself a full half second in front of the field. And that'll leave Tank, Che, Grumio, Dan, Websy, left all of them scratching their heads there. What a lap. That was fantastic. We only saw the start and end of it, but massive gains there from Pope. And that put him from staring down the barrel of the drop zone to looking over his shoulder at it from quite a distance. P6 right now. Alvar, another car on the bubble in P10. Ethan in P11, 3 tenths off. Only 2 cars yet set a lap time being Red J and JB. So Red J of course out on the racetrack. Will we see a Q3 appearance potentially? You never know. Best time so far, 1:28.3 in terms of time to reach a minimum to get himself into the top 10. When it's 6.5 is second sector. At the last corner we'll see what Red's got up his sleeve here. Up to P10 just, 1:28.227. And that'll drop Alvar, who goes back into the pits, into the bottom 5, alongside Ethan, Ben, Yoglu and JB, who's back on the racetrack now. After that trip to the gravel trap, he is back on the circuit and looking to take his claim into Q3. Top 6 are on the pits, the highest driver in terms of order still on the racetrack is Imri. And he's half second up. And that could potentially put him 1-2 with his teammate if he can finish this lap off. Off the final corner. Big gains in the last sector for Haas. They go 1-2 now. Imri second, 1:27.326. And all of a sudden, the reigning Constructors champions looking like the ones to beat at the minute. 3 minutes to go, so plenty of time for someone to try and challenge those times. But whatever they put in that machine, whatever that does to set up, it is working, without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, these two looking to get a title challenge underway. They were best of the rest in terms of last season. They were the first 2 drivers outside of the championship fight. Flying Duck currently the last car, safe in Q3. We'll see if he's got the speed on this lap to keep himself in that position. Red J only a 10th off, but Red J looking to go again. He's done 2 laps on those soft tyres, so I imagine not this time. Websy retiring, and I'll tell you it's probably quite a dangerous position to be in for Websy, because there's every chance that a few drivers improve below. Because JB hasn't actually set a lap yet, so we could see him shoot into the top 10 and push him down a spot, and obviously that will then put him a step closer to being knocked out. So keep an eye on Websy's retirement there. JB 1:86.2 in his second sector. So only have time for one more lap before the checkered flag falls. Imri retiring, Dan retiring, Che retiring. 6 of the top 7, all calling it a day. We're so close together right now. JB into P9. That moves Flying Duck out, but Duck goes to P5, which puts JB back right now, right there on the cut line. Here comes Red J. Red J not improving. He's 4 tenths down. I think being on those tyres this long isn't helping his case, but P12 still a solid qualifying. If he can hold it where it is for now. Yoglu up by a 10th and a half out of his first sector. Then across the line, start with must be his final lap in the last minute of Q2. Alvar's got a minute to make it back to the line. And they can make it about probably about 10 seconds or so to spare. Grumio starting will be his last lap of the session now. Can he top the two Haas cars? We've seen him in the past be set of laps that look like they can't be beaten. Then he goes and not only beats him and puts it into the next second. So in this case, we could be looking at potentially at most a 126 from Grumio. If this is the Grumio of old, JB retiring there, so right on the mark. If someone improves more than him, he's out qualifying. PJ on his last lap here. Red J in the garage, he's out qualified. Alvar across the line, start his last run. Yoglu goes P11. I think that'll be it for him. I think he's out. And he's got something mega lined up for this final lap. Checkered flag has now fallen. Red J is out of qualifying. Who will join him in the bottom 5? Yoglu retires. He's out of qualifying. PJ is 2/10 up. That might be enough to knock JB out. Alvar 128.3. That's enough for almost a quarter of a second improvement. And Ben up by almost a second here. Could see him into 127 so we can cap this one off. 127.9 puts him into Q3 for the minute. Ethan down the cut line. JB is out. Second car out of qualifying. Third car, sorry, because obviously Red J already out, but still on the circuit at the time. So check a flag and found him. Grumio 6/10 up. So they can slot himself right in there between the two Haas cars. Of course, the Haas cars, he and Lando piloted to championships last season. Can he go back and destroy what he once created? He goes fastest, 127.007. So Lee Grumio's top of the session, doing what he always does at some point. Ethan out of qualifying there. It's down to Alvar now, who's 3/10 up. And that might be enough. He can get one more 10th out of that. Towards the line. P11 for Alvar. Just misses out. And that was a very close end to qualifying. And that's something to go by. Q3 should be an absolute doozy of a session there. So Grumio tops Q2, leading home Pope and Imri in second and third. PJ and Tank, Che, Duck, Dan, Websy, and Ben is your field for Q3. Alvar, Ethan, JB, Yoglu, and Red J all finally end qualifying in this session. So good run for Q2, and it's on to decide who will take the first pole position of Season 18 of the Races Driving League in Q3. Here we go then. This is where it all comes down to who has got the speed to lead, who will put it on pole position here in Bahrain. We're about to find out. In terms of teams that have got their cars through to this part of the session, 3 teams getting both their cars in. So Haas with Pope and Imri, Ferrari with Che and Dan, and Aston Martin with Tank and Flying Duck. Now look at that. The bottom 2 teams in the Constructors' Championship last season, both of them getting both their cars into the last part of qualifying. Can one of them perhaps nab pole position? It's time to find out. Imri leads him out this time, but once again followed with a Sauber following him out this time it's PJ Khaled. Of course, PJ, no strange pole position, his most recent one coming earlier on last season in China. So we're nearing a season since that pole position. I'm sure he'll add another one to his collection to keep that polar streak from continuing. Of course, Imri was fantastic in qualifying last season himself. And those Ferraris, we're looking to keep an eye on those two because we won't see any retirements of drivers thinking they're safe. There will always be someone who wants to go for. And of course, that's the Haas pair looking strong. PJ there, Tank looking strong, Ben, another fantastic Q3 appearance from him, looking to convert that into his first points of the season in about an hour's time. Websy there, looking to start his season off to another high note, and Grumio, of course, won this race last time out in Bahrain, and looking to come back to back if he can, and to try and perhaps win a 3rd straight RDL Championship this season to go with alongside his previous 8. The Ferraris, they have a game plan here. They've gone out one after the other. Is there a slipstream plan in mind for either one of these two? Shouldn't think so. Dan showing no sign of slowing up. In reset, starting the first lap of the session. We've got just 10 minutes to decide who will make it onto pole. Does Che get anything off being that close to Dan? Nothing at the minute. Nowhere near close enough to get any form of slipstream, so that's out of the question. A lot to talk about this lineup. This could be one of the stronger ones this season. If the last race of the last season was anything to go by. Keep an eye out for the prancing horses. Put up the race straight there. So everyone out on the circuit, but 3 of them still coming through to start their flying laps. Those guys being Grumio, Websy and Tank. Imri coming through to set the first lap of the session. He went at 5.8 was his second sector. His last sector comes to 1:27.5. Slightly slower than what he's set in Q2. PJ towards the line. PJ faster, but only just. 1:27.553 for the Sauber machine. Tank coming through. The start will be his flying lap. That's Flying Duck has gone P3. Dan, fastest there. Che faster than that by a good 4/10. What a lap. Massive improvement there from Che. And move the Ferraris once again to the top of the order. Pope into 5th place. Grumio coming through to start his first flying lap of Q3. And Tank in there as well. Websy will be the last car to start a bad lap. What a Q3 we have for you in prospect here. And it'll come down to those last runs later on. Ben goes P7, slowest in the time so far, 1:28.8 on the board for him. The last of the cars that went out for that initial run. Tells who went a big group. And Landon has joined us. So Landon will take his place in the other RB. We'll start from the back of the field. That is something to keep an eye out for. Cars out of place in the first race of the season. Should be very exciting. Grumio's new RB. Right now, 10th on the board. And that'll be a sight we'll get no chance to get used to, I imagine. But we'll see what he's got here on this lap. First few cars coming back to the pit lane, being led in by Imri. Imri P4 right now, 1:27.575. Not the fastest, but still 3/10 up over his teammate. Che, the leader, 1:27.095, and that's only just less than a 10th faster than Grumio's initial lap. What has Grumio got up his sleeve? Off the last corner and towards the line. And hit it with a 21.26 already there. Grumio 1:26.923. And the champion finally showing his face there. And all of a sudden the Ferraris have a fight on their hands. Towards the line, P7 for him. So everyone has now set a lap time. 6 minutes, or just under 6 minutes to go in the session. Okay, only 3 cars still on the racetrack. Those will be the 3 who joined us later on out of the pits. Imri going back out there, P6 right now. The top 10 are looking a lot closer than we thought it would. Imrie, of course, fantastic in qualifying last season, looking to add another pole or two to his belt this season, and preferably a race win. His last win was back in season 16 in Qatar. Which, of course, I want back to get the exact number in terms of how many races it's been since he last managed to take victory. He goes into most of his third sector. From what I can see here, we're looking at about 29 races since Imrie last took victory. I'm sure he'd like to put an end to that streak today. Only 2 cars in the circuit, both of them on outlaps. Imrie coming back in though. So not going over the run plan just yet. That leaves Flying Duck all by himself. And we see Kick Sauber of PJ emerging back on the circuit for what could be the last run. Flying Duck P9 a minute, starting what could be one of his last few laps, if not his last lap. And here comes the field now, everyone re-emerging. Led out by Pope and both Ferraris, Tank and Aston. But for now though, Grumio, Websy and Ben all staying in the pits. Two and a half minutes to go. And the yellow flag in the second sector. I'm not sure who that's for. So everyone's all okay, but everyone has to split up a little bit here to give each other a little bit more space going into these final runs. Imrie leading the train. Pope, plenty of room there. Got a big part of the track also himself. 2 minutes to go. Towards the line, we'll see what sort of lap he's got up his sleeve this time round. This will be likely his final lap. P9 at the minute, he has to really get his skates on to try and recreate the lap he set back in Q2. As well, Imrie, he was only about half a second off that right now. Now, is there a toe perhaps in mind for these Ferraris? But of course, Che can't move out of the way because he's got his own lap set in attempt to try and beat Grumio. The extra DRS for Dan help his case. Or rather the extra toe. What's the DRS for the qualifying? Bring me out the circuit for one last run. Perhaps just to solidify his place on pole. PJ's P3 there. Likely his final lap. What does Grumio have? Let's find out. We'll move back to him. We'll keep an eye on the cars that come through towards the line here because it's likely to be the end of quali. Websy starting his final lap. Flying Duck coming through with Pope in tow. Duck letting Pope through. Pope's best lap time in this session was a 1:27.889. Let's see what it looks like as he comes towards the line. Only a few seconds now to go. Pope goes second fastest, 126.972. Oh, so close and onto the front row, but not enough for now. Checker flag has fallen. Duck is the only driver to finish this lap. Imri to P5. Here come the two Ferraris. Che is in there. Che goes fastest. Dan goes fastest. 126.4 from Dan. 126.8 from Che. And Grumio now has it all to do in these last two sectors to get himself back on pole. Are we looking at an all Ferrari front row lockout here? PJ more or less done there. He's the second half down. P6 the best for him. Webbsy almost 2/10 up. But Ben is half second up but invalidated. So that's the end of his run. P10 for the McLaren driver. But a first Q3 appearance of the season. Nothing to sniff about at all. Grumio invalidated. Oh, there he goes off the circuit. That's a big shunt for him. Has he crashed there? It would appear he has. That's a shunt you wouldn't have expected from the reigning champion. Grumio out of qualifying there. Third place for him on the grid by the looks of things. Unless Webbsy can top him, I don't think he can. Webbsy stays P8. Pope's on his way through. Can Pope do anything? We'll keep an eye out here on his last sector. He's down by 12 seconds. That'll do it then. So the first pole position of the season goes to Ferrari, and it goes to one Daniel Aron, who will lead us to turn one. And Che will start right alongside him in second place. All of a sudden, Ferrari might be back in the RDL. Ferrari, a team who have never reached the peak in this league with any driver lineup. This could be their time, potentially. It's, of course, very early to call, but if that was anything to go by, put Daniel Aron on pole for the first race of the campaign. We'll go through your top 10 and go to a brief intermission for the race that's underway. So down on pole, Che in second, Grumio third, Pope fourth, Tank in fifth for his return, PJ sixth, Imri seventh, Webbsy eighth, Flying Duck ninth, and Ben rounds out your top 10. So that is the top 10 for the start of the first race of the new season. Back to you in a few minutes' time when I start the race. Don't go anywhere because this could be an absolute RDL classic. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is time now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the start of the first race of Season 18 of the Races Driving League. Welcome back to the Bahrain International Circuit for the first race of what should be a highly competitive campaign. There is the circuit on offer for you. The graphic, of course, as always, created by our very own JB to replicate the style of graphics for Formula 1 in the 2000s. Fantastic circuit, a fantastic facility, 15 corners. Grumio won this race last season for Haas. Can it go back-to-back for RB? We'll find out in just a moment's time.
Right Right then, the formation lap is underway here in Bahrain, where the circuit is located in the middle of sand dunes and offers near desert conditions. Let's hope we see some scorching action on track today too.
They're just starting tyres there, and for the first time in quite a while here, a wide variation, mainly soft to medium, except for Alvaro starts his race on the hard. You see the Ferraris lead everyone away.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, and failing that, within the points.
And there is the two Ferraris leading them in formation back to the front of the grid. Daniel Aron has never won a race in the Racers Driving League. Could today be his day? Che looking to finish off this season where he left off last, and Grumio there, P3 on the grid, looking to start the first of his first race of what could be a record-extending 9th title-winning campaign. It's all on the line here, and here come the lights for the first race of the new season, the Racers Driving League, Season 18. And it's underway, lights up, foot to the floor, go, 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 and Websy already with a drive-through penalty for a jump start, but he shoots away into the lead towards turn one. He's taking full advantage of that, and Websy leads him into the first corner. Grumio to the inside, 3-1 with the two Ferraris there. You see Dan stuck in the middle of that. Che gets away. Contact between Dan and Grumio. Grumio off the circuit. Cargo slow in the background. I think that's Flying Duck. He's had a poor getaway there. He's falling in towards the back of the field. Almost 5-6 wide here. Landlord making big moves to the back of the field there. And around goes Grumio. The reigning champion off to a poor start here. Big wing damage. I think contact with Dan may have caused that. I'm not too sure. It was all a bit of a kerfuffle there. But Websy surprisingly leads away. Don't quite believe that for a getaway. And the RBs, the reigning champion combination of drivers, find themselves at the tail end of the order with a lot of work to do, in particular the reigning champion, who's got that big bit of wing damage there to repair. Long race that lays ahead of the reigning champion, Salve Grumio here, as everyone settles into single file. Websy leads Che, leads Tank, leads Dan, and Pope and Emery behind. PJ 7th, Ben in 8th, Ethan 9th, and JB now in the top 10 as Red J pursues the Alpine in front of him for the last paying points position in the order. 10th Kenner runs P12, there's Yoglu 13th, Alvaro Flying Duck side by side into turn 12 for 14th, and McLaren gets the edge around the outside, he'll take away the place. Courtney Goblin fighting a right Landlord for position. Landlord bit of slide off the corner, but takes P16 back. It's got Courtney Goblin P17, then 18 P18, and Seske P19, and Grumio 7.5 seconds off the field there by himself, most likely needing a pit stop. DRS enabled here as Che now comes through to lead the first lap of the season. Websy falling back a little bit here. He's got Tank side by side on the run towards turn 1, looking for second. In towards the braking zone they come. The Aston Martin makes clear work of the Williams and jumps into P2. Websy and Dan side by side as they run towards turn 4. DRS in play for the first time this season. Tank was the first driver to push that button. And there we through. Holding on to P2 for a minute. Dan maintaining P3 of Websy. He's got a drive through for that jump start, so keep an eye out for that. Grumio making a change here. Front wing going on. Courtney Goblin out of the race. And our first retirement already, courtesy of Courtney Goblin, who looks to be going. It looks as though he may have just. I'm not sure the game's disconnected him or what there, but the Red Bull's still going. There's no damage on that machine, or at least enough to retire the car. So Courtney out very early on then. So our first retiree of the season is the Red Bull of Courtney Goblin, and leaving 10th Cannon as the lone Red Bull in this race. She runs P12 right now. And or it's P14. It's been a solid start there for the 3-time series champ. Actually came into the inside of AT there. Che leading Tank. Actually, we could see a move being made here. Full position with that DRS, but will Dan get to them first? That's the question. Ferrari showing the way here early on. Aston Martin separating in a minute. On to lap 3. Legos Websy serving that drive through into the pit lane. Fastest lap for Che. Of course, bonus point for that. Closing the gap towards turn 1. Can't get close enough, but keep an eye out. It's going towards turn 4. That could be where the move is made potentially. And Dan right behind both these two, looking to get himself into position. Down towards turn 4 once again. Still chain control. Top 3 pulling away a little bit there. Pope in P4, Emery P5. PJ and Ben, Ethan, Red J, and 10th Cannon now running in the top 10 with Webster into pits. That is a place game for all of those cars. Landlord's charge continues into P13, but Flying Duck trying to switch back on the RB as they run into the second sector. Flying Duck just has the short end of the stick there, and that'll move Landlord into P13. From the back of the grid, that's quite a charge so far. Grumio across the line to start his third lap. and a lot further behind than you might have anticipated. So poor stuff from the reigning champion, or rather not the start you would have wanted to his season. And that'll be the first piece of work, I think, for the stewards to have a look at and dissect in season 18. The top three definitely starting to stretch their advantages. The Haskars can't keep up with them right now. In terms of position change, the biggest gainer so far is a tie right now between Landlord and 10th. They're both gained 7 places each, and Reggie's gained 6. And Jairek dropped most places that down, then is Grumio down 16, and Websy, thanks to that drive-through, down 10. So those two banking on a perhaps a safety car of some kind, or some sort of intervention to keep themselves in with a chance for some points in this race. There's your starting tyres for everyone, or current tyres at the very least. Grumio changed onto a set of mediums. There goes Tank to the inside for the race lead into turn 1. And on his return to the RDL, formerly Sniper Hunter, now Tank, blitzing his way through the field and up into the first position. But there goes Che, might try and come back at him here. Poor exit from the Aston Martin off turn 3, and that'll be a lead change once again. Yellow flag up turn 1 from what I see there. Not sure who that is. Looks like that's 10th Cannon. So some kind of altercation with someone, not quite sure who. So it covers the car though. Is there damage on that Red Bull? Looks to be okay from a distance. Che reclaims the lead. There goes Alvar, briefly looking to the inside, thinks better of it, moves back into line. Yogaloo fighting Ethan here for the last points playing place, because Yogaloo are reserves, so can't score them. But I'd love to finish in the top 10 regardless. Flying Duck, 10-second penalty there for ignoring a yellow flag. I'm not sure as to what that's all about. Just goes myself in the corner. It's Ethan who wins out on this occasion. He's on those soft tyres. Top 3 all on softs. So the tyre advantage there may come from that, and that's why they're building a bit of a lead here early on. So keep an eye out later on the race. But they're looking at mainly 2 stops across the order here. Pope right now keeping Imri and PJ at bay. On to lap number 5 now. It's still Che in control, but can Tank come back at him this time? And will Dan be able to get involved? Good run from the Aston Martin. May see a late move to the inside. Will Che defend down low? He won't go for it. Tank stays in line as Imri making the move on teammate Pope in turn 1, and PJ looking to join the party too. Ben right behind him to try to take advantage of any scrap in front of him. They're still side by side off the corner, and PJ just about nips in front of Pope, who might come back at him. The DRS of PJ focused on taking on Imri perhaps for P4, and Ben just forced to sit back there for the minute and just watch this play out. But he's in a good position right now. He's another 3 seconds back to JB and P8, Red JP9, and Landlord now passing both Flying Duck and Yogaloo, gets himself into the top 10. So looking at some first points for RB this season. Ten and Yogaloo side by side. 10 gets in front, stays in front of this occasion. Alvar looking to the inside of that car, a bit of a slide there from the McLaren. There's a slight tap. A test game right behind both these two. And a very similar position to that of Ben up in P7. Che holding the lead right now. Tank still second, Dan still third. Imri trying to close in on this group. And he is closing in a little bit. Getting a 10 here and there, 1.6 back from the minute. PJ P5. I might have Pope won that place back. He can't afford to fall away too much, otherwise Ben might see his chance of go snapping at his heels in the race for P6. PJ with a good run this time, I think, on Imri. Tank looking really once again up front. Stay in line though. PJ taking P4 over Imri. So with the Haskar down to P5 and P6. Tank continuing to hang on to the back of that Ferrari in the race for the lead. Che holding on to it. But so much action, we're already 6 laps into this thing, so plenty of time for more to come. Flying Duck getting around 10th Cannon. He's going to go for points right now. Of course, Flying Duck with that 10-second penalty. Let's keep an eye out for that. Of course, a few guys have made their stops. Grumio is now closing on some cars. He's 10 seconds back from Ethan. Wobble there from Che. Keep an eye out. last corner once again. So 3-car train there, 4-car train right behind. And JB in a world of his own, but perhaps is he closing the gap to the cars in front? Let's keep an eye on that. Brilliant read on the main stretch, could be going at it towards turn 1. Tank reclaims the lead from Che. 3 wide position there. Both of them trying on PJ. But Pope on the inside. In a minute, Pope goes back in front. And does Ben have a next try to take advantage of him, ring? Not for the minute. We'll all stay single file for now. We'll lock up from Pope there. That could allow him to move back into the picture. Not for the minute, of course. These two will be careful. These two are teammates, and that's the last thing we'll be doing, making contact with your teammate. Of course, Che knows even with Tank in the picture and in the lead, that he'll get the full 25 points as Tank is only in reserve. But of course, I'm sure he'd like to take P1 for himself. Landon looking now to try and close on JB. He's pulling away from the pack with Yogolu. Duck, Alvar and 10th. This game about the second half of these guys. There's 18, P15, then Websy, Red J, Ethan and Grumio. Not a lot of luck here for the reigning champion. Off the last corner again. Tank moving across the middle of the racetrack here. More or less giving Che free reign. Let's go charging back on the outside. Let's got to pick his lane there. And can Dan try and take Tank too? Maybe. Thanks better with that. Perhaps might have had time, but there's enough time to try and set up a good move. PJ still holding the 2 house cars and Bennett Bay. It's about half a second in front of Pope in a minute. And then JB, Landlord there. Those two in order of their own at the minute. Flying Duck has that last point pay in place. But currently holding off Alvar and Yogolu to keep it. Websy, P13. So 18th company right behind him. I thought that those soft timers, we could be getting closer and closer to seeing the first pit stops of the season, first routine pit stops of the season. Because Chase trying to open the advantage here of both Tank and Dan. 7/10 in front, that giving a bit more breathing room when the DRS comes into play on the main straight and towards turn 4. Down the main straight, as I say, Che with plenty of room to think about it there. Pope getting to the inside of PJ and reclaiming P4 for himself. And he plays this in a way that will help him get around him. And Landlord passing JB. JB into the pit lane here. First stop for Alpine. And JB's away. Hard tyres go on that race car. See how long those hards can last. So JB emerged just in front of Ethan and Red J. They fight position. JB stays in front, but Ethan is there closing the gap. Can't go for a move just yet. Maybe he needs to start trying to putting those hard tyres some work and try and pull that gap away. You see him start to open up already. Look how much more grip he's got in the corners compared to the cars behind. Of course, not being in that dirty air as well. Definitely a positive on that Alpine. And the next car in front of JB being his teammate for tonight, AT. Yogolu with 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. In comes Che. First in the top 3 to bite the bullet. Those 3 have been firing away the fastest cars in the order so far. Hard tyres going on, so we're looking at perhaps the 1 stop then from some of these guys. in terms of medium tyre runners, well, how long are they trying to go now? Obviously, Alvar on the hard to begin with. Could we see him go perhaps into the 20s in terms of laps, and then go again on the set of soft tyres at the end of the race? Basically the opposite of what these guys are trying here. Regardless, it leaves Tank back out of the lead, but down in second place. It's Peter Coward now into the top three. So Sesgamer sits the fastest lap on minute 30.4. He takes on Tank Cannon for position number 17. Into turn one, both those two pitted a few laps go for soft tyres. Obsess wins out on this occasion. Almost 3 seconds to Red J in front. Red J's new teammate for the season. In University, one of the more popular pairings in the paddock. Always good to root for. Of course, both of them pace stronger and stronger. Of course, Red J made Q2. Obsess narrowly knocked out at the end. Obsess has got Ethan and J&B right in front of him there. And he can't sit left still on because someone's hold up his race too much. Grimio 9 seconds off 10th Cannon. I'm sure Ethan would like some DRS off of the other Alpine in front of him to help him deal with the Alpine behind. In comes both Dan and Tank this time, and Ben following them in. Hard tyres going on all three race cars, from what I can gather. Yes, there's the McLaren team making the change. Good stop from those guys. Getting back on the circuit. Who emerges in front then? Che gets out in front of both cars then, so will maintain the race lead. He's got Flying Duck. Takes teammate for tonight in front of him. He sort of left those two in the dust. Tanking down now about 2 seconds off of Che. Let's go for back-to-back race victories. Trying to win 3 of the last 5 LDL Grand Prix if he can win this race today. There's still 18 laps to go when he crosses the line, so a lot of time for things to change. Tells the cars in front to take their stops. Flying Duck, Alvar, Landlord, then Imri, PJ, and Pope now leads the way. Of course, those guys will start to go mediums and hard tyres. Landlord's put in quite a shift here since this Grand Prix got underway. From dead last on the grid, of course, yet to make a stop, but he's in P4 right now. I imagine we'll see him re-emerge as to whereabouts he was. In come Pope and PJ. Pope with a 10-second penalty there for speeding in the pit lane, and that is not what we want to see at all. Frustrating sight to come up on the race control dash there for Pope. He gets out in front. Pope out in front of PJ as expected. They'll emerge back out behind Dan and Tank, because those two continue to fight for position. Can they get out in front of Ben too towards turn 1? Ben's got a decent run. Might try and tackle PJ. Not close enough. But we'll keep it in DRS range crucially, and their battle will resume once again. A bit more of a gap between them compared to what there was. So that leaves Alvar and Imri then. There's only 2 cars in terms of leaders yet to make their stops. Of course, Flying Duck also yet to pit, but has been passed by Che, so easy to not spot that. In control, looking to snap that winless streak today, but so far the Haas cars as well as Tank have been far away, the Ferraris as well as Tank have been far away the fastest cars, and the Haas cars have been playing second fiddle to them so far, with PJ hanging with them for company. The 2 fastest pairings from tonight so far, both sitting there in their own little packs with a green car around them. There's one thing they both have in common. In comes Imri. And keeps it within the speed limit. Che is filling Alvar's mirror at the last corner. On to lap 13 of this race. Che making the move. Down to the inside, and that'll be the net race lead, and that'll be the full race lead back for Che. Reclaims the top spot. Alvar now second, Dan third, Duck in fourth, Tank in fifth. Imri will re-emerge behind all of them here. He may emerge behind JB too. It's close, but it just came out back in front of the Alpine. But now a couple of seconds behind that Paki was chasing, and was that the right call? Let's see if Imri's got the pace and across the rest of the race to make it back up again. There's two cars. He had to stop, start moving back up to P7. But Crusoe 2.7 behind Ben. In control there by 1.5 seconds over Alvar. Dan starting to lose tank now. We're looking at a Ferrari 1-2 if things says they are. Alvar will be a while before we see him into the pit lane, so Dan's going to go around if he wants to try and lose tank. He's out of DRS range, I think for the first time all night. Pope making a move here on Flying Duck for P5. EJ a second behind him. Back to Ben, and almost three back to Imri. He's got red J, he's got strong JB all over him. So yeah, see 10th Canada and 10th Gamer both looking at going for the soft tyres as well as Websy. So this one a bit different as Grimio comes in. Not been the race he would have wanted so far. Soft tyres going on, trying to try and gain some more time. Perhaps banking on a safety car to get himself back into this race. Down 2.2 behind his teammate right now. Can he close that gap? Then challenging Flying Duck for position number 7 in the order. Could that help Imri and JB if he gets held up for too long? Oh, and that's very close there. Close defending from Flying Duck. Now keep in behind, but then there's Ben Diesel on the exit looking at it. Can't do a minute, not enough to run. Flying Duck quite low on battery here, as is Imri. The last corner. Flying Duck into the pit lane there, so that'll allow Ben to have the race track back to himself again, but he's lost a fair bit of time to Imri. Considerably closer. JB around the outside of Imri into turn 1. Move the Alpine up into P8. Of course, the driver who managed to take home P3 in this race last season, driving the car that currently sits position in front of him. So Chase got all to himself up front for the minute, 2.8 to be good. Just gave him a 3-second time penalty for him for multiple warnings. And that's just the second one of those to be handed out tonight as we reach the halfway stage. Still a long way to go in this race. But Che, having it to himself is definitely helping his case. Dan's still in second, he's got Alvar a second behind him, and Sank is 1.7 back from him. Hope there will have 10 seconds added onto his time at the end of the race. I imagine now he's on those hard tyres, he won't stop again short of safety car. Let's get around Alvar into turn 1 now. So the inside of the braking zone makes the pass. So tank back in P3 as he was. Now 1.6 behind down. Going to be the fastest lap there. And that'll be a sign that the champion's still on his pace. So 1.4 behind AT and Duck. You see this game they're emerging just with them. Now going to set a hard tires because it's set to go to the end. I feel like in about a lap or so we may see the champ start to show his mettle a bit more. But of course the opening to the race that no one would have expected. There goes the inside of Cess Gamer. Oh, contact! Taps AT going through turn 8. It gets around the outside of the Alpine into turn 10, squeezing a bit there. And now up into P17. The work begins for Grumio on those soft tyres. Back to the inside, looking at it. 3-second penalty there. Perhaps the move wasn't worth it. RJ passing Ted Cannon into turn 1. It's very tempting in the pit lane here, so she's also had enough of the medium tyres. She'll emerge, I imagine, with that pack at the back. Emery now up to Ben. Side by side position. This is the P7 on the racetrack. Close to contact. JB up between behind these two. Looking for something. Emery to the outside this time into the braking zone. Ben's got the preferred line. Emery's got the long way round, and could JB get in there? Can't do it. Emery on the inside. This time he's got the run going towards turn 9. That'll be the end of the matter for him for the minute. But of course, will Ben have DRS? It'll be Emery's. Ben has DRS. Well, closer than nothing. We've got a good enough exit to keep in front. And now the Haas has got to try and drop these two and move on to tackling PJ Callan once again. Up front, Che continues to expand his lead. Ferrari loving this right now. He's in complete control of this thing. On to lap 18. And closing that gap though. He's up to within a second of Dan. And we're working a toe to bend down the main straight behind them. Both cars closing on Emery. Then will not go for it. Keeps in line at turn 1. Red Jay into the pit lane here. Another set of hard tyres going onto that race car. And he's away. That pushing down to P13, maybe P14. On the go there, will he emerge in P14 and P15? He's just behind the Sauber of Ethan. That's P15 for Red J. From him makes pass on Flying Duck for P16. Taking the gap here to Daniel Aaron. Now right behind him, right on his tail there. Emery pulling away slightly, but not really being left alone by Ben or JB. And then hoping that Alvar can keep PJ behind. Pope into the pit lane here. Change the strategy from the Haas team. What is Pope doing? He's going to have to serve that 10-second penalty. Is that a set of soft tyres? He has a set of hard tyres going on that race car, but first he's got to sit there and wait for the Haas team to serve the penalty and then make the change. There they go. Come back out here. What looks to be in P12. See Grimio coming in behind him in the background. Hope's going to emerge just with Red J and Ethan. And just in front of both cars. One of them, if you are in fact looking at 2 stops in this race. Alvar yet to make his first one. He's the last car yet to come into the pit lane. Emery right behind him now. I think Imri, Ben and JB might have found the afterburners and are getting to work. A lock up there from Alvar in front. Dan making the pass once again on Tank. Goes good going, starts to go at it for position once again. As we enter the last 10 laps of this race, it's still chain control. As we had this last season, a late safety car changed the equation completely. Camilo works to defend the race win last season. Ben passing Alvar there. JB still stuck behind McLaren. He'll be hoping for his teammates so he can keep him behind. JB's got a muscles way there on the outside. No contact made, so those two keeping it nice and clean. It's turn 4 though. It's JB's line on the exit. Alvar still alongside him, close to contact, but none is made. JB up into P7, but we're deep there through turn 7. Into the 7th spot then, but now 1.3 behind Ben. Emery back into P5 now. What is he hunting? Is he hunting a podium finish in the late stages? Highest has been so far today is P4. The top 3 has been a bit too fast. In particular, Chain now is pulling away. Continues to expand his advantage now. He's got almost 7 seconds. Living Tank and Dan defend each other off. On to lap 21 then. PJ by himself, but keep an eye out because Imri will be closing that gap fast. Oh, we've got a car for the circuit there. Not sure who that is. That's Grumio's gone off. The car is stuck on the gravel there. Gets himself going again. Not sure what that was all about. Another car off there, and that's Pope by the looks of things. Pope's gone off too. How about that? 2 former champions look to be losing control here. Not at all sure what happened there. Regardless, both of them carrying on. Bottom of the order right now. I'm still confused as to what the tactic was for Pope. Yellow flag, and that is Pope out the race. And Grumio off there at the circuit as well. So Pope becomes the second retirement of the season as Grumio gets the car running again. Two champions struggling here. And Grumio into pit lane 2. Could this be through a tyre as well? And that's it. Shockingly, the reigning champion out of the first race of the season. Pope's car pulled over. He's out of the race. Oh, contact! Around, almost around goes Daniel Aaron. He's getting a bit too aggressive there. And there goes... I think Tank has to let him go. Might there have been some illegal overtake put in by the game? Not too sure there. A lot of confusion as to what's been going on in the last lap or two. Yellow flag, sector 1. That'll be over Grumio's car. Pulling over as Pat's coming through. So goes back on the circuit for a second there, and that was very close for 10th cannon. I think if Grumio's AI coming any further back on, she may well have run into him. Or rather, he may well have run into her. And that is not what we want to see. We don't want to see a retired AI interfering with the race and the driver's still in the race. 9 seconds now the gap to the lead. 7 laps to go then. Top 6, top 7 to wait all their single file. Landlord's forced back to 8th place, and I'll tell you, it's not over for him yet. So more pace these last laps. I think he'd probably try and nab P7 off JB. He's got the feed though. I'll keep an eye on him in the last stage of this Grand Prix. Emery still holding off Ben and looking to close the gap to PJ for P4. PJ looking remarkably close now to Tank in 3rd place, to the point where he's now in DRS range. So could Emery be smelling a podium should he catch PJ? But Dan is pulling away 1.6 in front of the Aston Martin for P2 now. And his teammates quite a way up the road here and looking like we've already got our winner of the first race of the season, but you never know. You know what could happen later on. But Ferrari, since they showed up tonight, been the class of the field. It looks to be walking away with a 1-2 here, if things stay how they are. Emery just within 2 seconds now of PJ. Then of course that 3-second time penalty he accrued earlier on in the race, so that will most likely keep him in P6, potentially knocking down to P7 or P8 if JB and Lando get close enough. That'd be about as low as it goes for McLaren, who look to be scoring the party's first points of the campaign. PJ being held off by a tank for the minute. See him looking around on the exit, trying to make something happen. Can't for the minute. Tank 2 seconds back from Dan. No DRS to think about. When will PJ make his move? I'll flip back in the field here. Reggio making a move on Ethan for P12. Because Wednesday the penalties to Ethan, like will take that place back. Ted Cannon P11 looking like she'll score points. She can stay where she is. Albar with the penalty. Yoga Lewis with the penalty, but Nick looks to be safe in there. Given the gap he's got on both those two cars. Just game around 18, that's not the start of the season I might have wanted. Chain control. Will PJ go for a move this time down the main straight towards turn 1? 5 more laps to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix. There goes PJ to the inside, looking for the podium place for Sauber into turn 1. And he'll get it too. And we're starting to lose Ben now. He's trying to fully focus on the cars in front of him. Is Tank going to try and get P3 back off PJ? As Dan scampers away, it looks like P2 maybe out the question as well. The Ferraris have played this race to a T, particularly Che. He's doing fantastic right now. Pole for Dan and the win for Che. Both the two Ferraris ending up with their own personal bits of glory from tonight. And we're closing that gap there. Four more laps and Jay crosses the line. Keep our on Tank here. Want P3 back. Can't score points for it as only reserve, but would love to take a podium and just show everyone that he's still got it. I mean, he's definitely proved that in my eyes tonight. There's always a bit of risk when you come back, especially on a new game compared to the last one you played with the league on. But Tank has not lost the yard of it. He goes to the inside once again, looking for that place towards turn 1. He'll reclaim it. By half a car length, can he clear PJ? You can clear PJ into turn 1. Emery still being held at bay, pulling away from Ben though. Ben perhaps dropping back. Not so much Emery gaining time as much as Ben dropping away. We'll see what JB can do anything. He's not close enough. Lionel's just 2 seconds back from JB here, so he could potentially nab 7 from the closing stages. Yoglu by himself, P9. Alvar holding on to the last point. 10th Cannon behind him by about a second and a half. She's still in position to nab, but that last point off him. But can't really afford to fall back too much more. Ethan and Reggie still going at it. Flying duck by himself. He's a Websy. Obsessed Gamer not too far behind. And AT in P17 on his return to the RDL. Shay with a few laps to go. PJ is there, looking to try to get that place back. A good 15 points for Saab will do wonders to start that campaign. Imri still 2 seconds behind. He's been fluctuating between 2 and 2.5 each lap. Three more laps. And that gap almost just staying strong at 10 seconds between Che and Dan. Of course, Che has made his run at the championship before in this league back in season 14 at the end of F1 22. Fought Grumio for the title, came up short. Grumio was champion. The 6th time in his career. Since then, Grumio's won 2 of the last 3 titles, but could potentially, if he's anything to go by, could this tonight be the start of Che's time this season? Time will tell over the coming months as we push towards F1 25 around the late spring and early summer months. But for now, though, it's all F1 24 and it's all Ferrari. Imri starting to break into within 2 seconds now, but needs to gain a big amount of time in his next lap and a half to stand a chance of nabbing a podium on this final lap. I think those hard tyres, I've definitely seen better days. Only 3 cars still in the mediums right now. That's Websy, Alvar and 10th Cannon. 10th is still falling back. She's 2.6 behind. Under pressure perhaps of losing that last point. Oh, there's a big slide there. And that might cost her. In these dying moments of the race. 2 laps to go for Chase. Just crossed the line. Tank closing once again. It's turn 1. But will he hold station though? Oh, contact again. Both cars going wild off their line. That may help him to close a little bit. But it's Tank who gets away and gets DRS. PJ can't get close enough to make a move to the inside. There goes, he goes to the outside though on the exit. At least to go side by side here will allow Imri to close up some more. Tank goes back, knows better if it stays in line, and that'll put him back in the catbird seat going on to the last lap. But Imri is closing that gap fast. Can he get close enough to try and nab DRS going on to the last lap? Shea though, continuing to set the pace as he has done throughout this second stint of the race. Imri 1.3 behind, 1.2 now. It's getting very close and he needs something more. So he needs to fight a bit more to stand a chance here going into this last lap. Shea's coming through to start it. Lap 29, the bell lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix, taken by the Ferrari of Che. The Phantom Red in the stands roaring on into turn 1. Dan second. Dan's going to want this down this main straight. This is what he wanted. He wanted DRS back. Try and make a move and try and make it stick. On PJ. On the inside. Takes the lead. Takes 3rd place away. And now he's got to hold station. He's got to keep PJ behind him on this final lap of the Grand Prix in order to take that podium. It's been a fantastic duel to watch. Neither car has a lot of battery in particular. So this could be how they follow each other home here. Alvar meant to take a move on Yoglu. Of course, these two both through 3 seconds. This is 4P9. Alvar getting in front, only just. Yoglu gets back in front. Alvar on the outside there, looking for DRS to clear Yoglu. He will clear Yoglu. going from potentially losing P10 to taking P9 away. 2 points for his efforts. Good stuff from Alvar, but even better stuff though from Che. He's got 2 corners to navigate now. Turns 14 and 15 at the far end of this straight. Ferrari have been dominant in this opening week of Season 18 of the Races Driving League. They look like the ones to beat tonight, and they've gone and proven everyone correct and all their doubters wrong. Che rounds the last corner to take his first victory of the season. He wins the Season 18 opener here under the lights in Bahrain. Daniel Aron will come through to claim a momentous second place for the second race in a row. These two, in the last race they did this in separate teams. They're in the same team now. It's a 1-2 for the Scuderia across the line. Tang takes his first podium return to the RDI's reserve. PJ will take the points for that. Imri P5. Ben across the line. Fantastic race for me. Takes home P6. JB will take home 7th. He'll beat Lanod to the flag. JB the penalty means that JB with Ben's penalty means that he'll take P6. Ben P7. Lanod P8. He ran out of fuel at the end there. And Alvar will beat Yogalu to the line. P9 double points for McLaren. And Yogalu will nab the last points place on offer. Can 10th get there? No, she can't. P11. I think she'll take the final point as Yogalu is a reserve, but would have sure likes to take it on merit there. Ethan P12, then Red J, Websy, Flying Duck, both of them getting in front of Red J thanks to the penalties. Obsessed Gamer towards the line, P16. Competitive start for the season for Mercedes. And 18th of the last cars across the line. Pope, Grimio and Courtney Goblin all failed to finish today's race. A very competitive race there, but Che did run away in those late stages. What a race it was. Fantastic stuff all around. And a 1-2 for Ferrari. What a way to start this season. And can the Tifosi perhaps start to dream? There is your winner. Che takes victory. What a fantastic way to kick off another fantastic campaign of Races Driving League action. Landlord takes driver of the day, well deserved. It was a great charge through the field for him. And the last season open is to be held in Bahrain for the foreseeable future, won by Che. As next season we go into Australia, and next week it'll be Saudi Arabia. The high-speed circuit of Jeddah should be an absolute minefield of chaos for the drivers to navigate, and we'll see who comes out on top next week. But for now though, it's time for post-race interviews, and we can start to get drivers in, and we'll see who we can talk to here in just a few moments time. But for now though, the celebrations are beginning on the podium for Ferrari. Fantastic race those two guys, has to be said. Che accepts the winner's trophy for his first victory of the campaign. Good stuff from those guys. So celebrations begin then. We'll move over to the post-race interviews now. Red J is the first one to arrive here. Red J just missing out on the points in the end. Of course, Mercedes were competitive across the day, and of course, she made Q2, so I think all in all, it's a successful start to the season. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I would be in agreement with that. I think getting into Q2 was obviously really good, and Obsessed was also pretty close as well, so I think we were quite competitive in quality, which was going to be a major concern for us. I think it's been probably proven that our fight will be with Red Bull over the course of the season. I think 10th Cannon has probably been able to get some points, so good result from her considering her qualifying position. And then in terms of the race position, 15th in the end after the 3-second penalty. That 3-second penalty's probably cost Mercedes a point, which is obviously a massive shame because we really could have done with that at the start of the season. But I think a result of, we both finished 15th and 16th in the end. I don't really think that's a fair reflection on the results. I think we definitely deserved a lot better than that, but overall it was a really fun race. I enjoyed fighting with a lot of people. I enjoyed fighting with 10th, with JB, with Ethan. Again, I remember fighting with him in Bahrain last time, and various other people. So yeah, it was a fun race, and I think Ferrari as well, absolutely fantastic really. I said that they were going to challenge for the constructors, and what a perfect way to start.
Yeah, I mean, obviously good to see your old team doing well there. Was there a moment in particular in the race that stood out to you in terms of your race?
I I think it would be probably Pope spinning right off in front of me on the penultimate corner. I think he got a little bit loose, and then his car just went off and into the gravel trap, and then I think he just decided to call it a day. After that, the start was pretty cool as well. That was quite fun. It's one of my favourite tracks. I think it's a great track. I'd love to go there one day as well. I think it would be really, really cool. So fun to drive on the game. Just such a shame that we couldn't get anything from it. I'm dreading Saudi next week, but I think there's plenty of positives to take from us. But it's definitely proven that Ferrari are serious contenders. I think Aston Martin as well are also looking really good. I think if I was landlord or Gremio, I think there's a lot of reasons to be concerned because you can't write Haas off either. So I think what we're going to have this season is we're going to have not only a really good Drivers' Championship battle, but we're also going to have a really good Constructors' battle. So I think a lot of things to be excited for.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Well, good stuff from you. As you say, I don't think that P15, P16 probably defines the race for you. I think you guys did a fantastic job across the evening. But so congratulations on the strong run. Perhaps we'll see you back here next week for Jeddah. We'll move on now to Ben, who came home P7 in the end. Was it Ben? Because was it you had a penalty or someone had one?
Yeah.
It was you. It wasn't. Yes. But still, solid points run for both you, of course, and for teammate Alvar and McLaren. Talk me through your race, mate, because of course you were up there with the leaders for a brief part of it.
Yeah, I was able to hold in the DRS quite well. So even when my tyres started to drop off, I could probably feel it, but I was still able to continuously build the gap to JB thanks to DRS, which, by the way, JB, 10th and a half. That's all it was. But yeah, fair play. JB on P6, I think I made one too many errors. Particularly on, I think I was like 14. way too many errors, got 2 warnings, and yeah, that kind of ruined my race.
I mean, like I say, still a solid point tool. Of course, I'll ask you what I asked Reg. Was there a particular moment or battle that stood out to you? Was it with the fight with JB perhaps?
The one with Imri. So
okay.
Most set to 1 and set to 2. I don't know if you caught it on stream, but
I think I did. I feel like
honestly,
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, clean, no contact whatsoever. Just what you want to see, really.
Yeah, definitely without doubt. So I mean, obviously, I think that proves that I think you guys and McLaren have the pace to challenge for those points consistently. Is that the aim next time out in Saudi Arabia as well?
That is definitely the aim, 100%. I've just done around. I can't remember that. Just done a race around Saudi Arabia, so I'm hoping there's a bit more grip out there than what I did last night.
I'll have to wait and see in terms of next week. Well, good job on the points finish. I'll make sure to remember where you're finishing with, because I know a few times last season I did sort of bollock it over on that. So I'll keep an eye out a bit more often. I'll be more vigilant in that respect. We'll move over now. All good. We'll move over now to, I think it was Tank. You joined us next. So welcome back to the RDL. And yeah, not too bad. Podium finish for you. Kick things off.
Long time no see.
Long time no see indeed.
Return race. Good fun. Amazing teamwork, to be honest.
Yeah, of course, we're reserving the Aston Martin this week alongside Flying Dog. Of course, yeah, who I think played a key part in keeping you with Dana. But of course, the pace was definitely there without a doubt. You haven't lost a yard of it over the last year or so.
There's definitely a lot more to gain when Mimosa gets here. You shouldn't see me off P1. Let's just put it that way. But my pace wasn't great around here, but we made up for it with teamwork. We knew the softs were crap. Me and Dan done some testing. The mediums are horrendous. Sorry, not the softs. The softs were great. So it surprised me when Grumio went mediums. But us three just got to the front, stayed together, swept the RS on the mid straight, and we drove away.
Did you feel like the win was on today, or was Che perhaps at the end a bit too quick?
No, the win really wasn't on. Che was hanging back at the start. That's why we're on the Diaz train. As we saw, Che was 10 seconds ahead by the end. I mean, even with the little incident with the cars coming out the pits, but yeah, I mean, Che's pace is phenomenal, and Dan got a damage at turn 1, but he was still quicker than me, which is just mental. His paces really came around. He's got a lot going for him this season. Strong
stuff from both Ferraris. And of course, I must ask you, of course, as the first time we send you back, are we going to see a few more reserve appearances from you this season? What do you reckon?
Yeah, should do. I won't be racing over Christmas, but I should be back for the 100% race, and I'll have my Mosa, so if I'm not racing, it's not because of me. I'll be here every week, as many as I can.
Have to be around to give us a bit of analysis once the race is over. So maybe feel free to hop into the voice chats every so often if you feel you've got something to say on the race. But yeah, good job on the position there. We'll move over now to 10th Cannon, who brought it home just outside of the points in the end there. 10th, frustrating stuff, I imagine. Commiserations, but I think pace was there for both you guys in Red Bulls today.
Yeah. It was a little bit of a mare in qualifying. Getting both out in Q1 wasn't exactly ideal, but to be honest, I may not have finished in the top 10, but I'm still happy with how things went today. I think coming from P17, anything above that was going to be a bit of an overachievement, especially on this track, which I'm notoriously bad at. Was really nice to try a strategy that isn't just mediums to hards for once. That was a nice, refreshing change.
I was going to ask, what in terms of the change strategy there, what brought that on?
I don't know. Since we started on this game, I've never really known what to do at Bahrain, because the game says you shouldn't do a one stop. I've always done a one stop, but I was gonna try and do a one stop, but then I accidentally put the softs on, and then I was like, whatever, I'll just try this, and it kind of worked.
It paid off briefly, but of course towards the end of the race, you were chasing down, I think it was Alvar, and of course things sort of fell towards the end. So, I mean, did it still pay off? Do you feel, or do you reckon that perhaps denied to the last point?
Yeah, I think so. I think it worked. My goal for this race was P12, so to finish P11 is above what I was aiming to get anyway. So, I think I'm feeling confident about how things went. I'm feel like today was a resounding success.
Good to hear. In terms of next week in Jeddah, what's the aspiration there?
Make Q2.
Fair enough.
Make Q2 and see where I can go from there. I really like Jeddah as the track, so I think if I put the hours in, put the effort in, I think I'm on for something good.
Good to hear. Well, hopefully things will go better next week in Jeddah. We'll move on now to Obsessed Gamer, who of course finished just in behind Red J, so P15, P16 for the two Mercedes cars. Obsessed, Red J earlier said that perhaps he feels that those two positions don't reflect the race you guys had. Would you stand by that as well?
I definitely stand by that. I think I actually had a phenomenal race. I was really happy with the pace that I had. I think just the two-stop tire strategy threw me off a little bit, but no, I think it was a great race.
I stand by that as well. To be honest, I mean, you guys had some particular excellent moments, but of course we'll focus on yours in particular. Of course, you fought a few guys in the back there. Was there anyone in particular you enjoyed battling, especially?
10th, I really liked battling. That was fun. Definitely passed the time better, and I think we each had some good moves on each other and good defense.
We did catch one or two of those on stream, so have to keep an eye out for that later on. But yeah, I'd say in terms of pace, I think a solid start to the season for Mercedes. Is there more to extract for you guys over the next few races?
Well, I will not be a Jeddah, but I really enjoyed that track. Really upset to be missing that one. But yeah, definitely after that, I think there will be a good showing.
So in that case, then the next race you'll be here for will be Australia. Have you had time to practice Albert Park at all?
Yes, I really enjoy that track. The fast turns and all of that. Really like that track.
One of the more popular ones on the calendar, has to be said. Well, good job. I'd say still good job on the pace today. I reckon you guys definitely had it in you, perhaps with something a bit higher, but of course circumstances do get in the way. But yeah, good stuff from both of you. Hopefully we'll see you back next in 2 weeks' time for Australia. And we'll come now, last of all, to JB, who did now have a points finish in his first race for Alpine. And JB, obviously narrowly held off Landlord at the end. Was there any threat that he might chase you down in the last few laps?
Well, he was alongside into the last corner, and then he ran out of fuel, so got a bit lucky there.
So that's what I saw. Okay.
But yeah, I was trying to stay within 3 seconds of Ben, and it was sort of hovering around that number. And then, of course, he was Landlord was catching up. So yeah, it was a good finish, and just got inside the 3 seconds to take well P5 after reserves. But yeah, I'm really happy with the result.
Of course, back to back strong results in Bahrain. P3 last season, P5 this season, points wise. Is this one of the favourites for you? Do you reckon?
I would say so, and I don't know if that has to do with, you practice a lot for the first race, and then as the season goes on, probably not as much. But I'm going to try and sort of keep up this level of practice for the upcoming races, especially Saudi, which I normally am terrible around. So if I can get a good setup there, that'd be good, I think.
Of course, last question. In terms of aspirations across the season, of course, last season it was 8th place in the championship. Are we looking for the same sort of thing again around the same sort of thing again this season? Maybe top 10 again?
Yeah, I'd think so. Because you have, people like Dan who are clearly a lot quicker than last season, so there's already a place probably dropped. I'm P5 at the moment before stewarding, of course. So if I can keep in the top half of the standings again, that'd be good, I think.
I feel like you guys in the stewards room might have your work cut out for you a bit, especially off the start. Did you catch a glimpse of any of that?
No, all I saw was Greener in the wall. I didn't really see anything else. It seemed like a relatively clean race from what I saw. So, other than that one, I think we can be relatively pleased with how it went.
Always good to kick off the season with a nice clean outing. Well, good talking to you, David. Of course, well done on the points finish. Hopefully there'll be a few more to come across the season. And that'll do it for interviews, and that'll do it for tonight's opening stream. Hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you did, make sure to like, share and subscribe, because this season is going to be absolutely mega. Perhaps one of the most competitive we've seen since last season, more or less. Thank you guys for coming along. It's been a fantastic stream. Hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And until the next one, Jenna next week will be on the 23rd of December 2024. Same time, same place on the Zach RC channel. Until next time, have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.